everyone. There are a few seats here still. Go ahead, don't be shy. We'll fill those. Before we get started, I just want to introduce you to Charlotte Schaff. She is the Director of Media Push, the PR firm that we've hired this year to help us get our word out, and she wants to let you know a little bit about the media today.
Hello. Thank you for coming this morning. We appreciate it a lot. Through the past few months, we've been continuously sharing information about the museum and how they're opening up, that kind of stuff. We've gotten some great PR so far. We're going to be in Phoenix Magazine soon, Arizona Health and Living. We were in Front Doors Magazine and the Phoenix Business Journal. This morning I was hoping for TV, but due to some breaking news, it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. It's happening in the West Valley. So the good thing is that we've got plenty of photographers and video here, so we will be sending some B-roll to the stations after, along with the local publications. So thank you very much for coming out, and I'm excited for this wonderful event. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte. So if you came at the idea that you might be on television, I am so sorry. But keep looking, because you might. You never know who will pick up the packages after. How many of you are happy that we didn't have this event at 6 a.m. in the morning? I thought that was pretty smart of us. Well, welcome to the grand opening and launch of the rebranding of the River of Time Museum. We want to thank Albert Nelson and the Masawati singers for sharing a bit of their Yavapai culture through their songs and drumming. Many of you in this room have been a part of this journey that's led us here this morning. Fort Mcdowell Yavapai Nation President, Mrs. Bernadine Bernadette, and the Fort Mcdowell Yavapai Nation Tribal Council, through their generous grants have awarded us, have provided a majority of the funding for this $80,000 project. Ms. Jenny Dickey, Mayor of Fountain Hills, and Fountain Hills Town Council and the staff have provided operational and design support to us. Michelle Reed and her husband David of Museum Pros brought our dreams to life by their creative design and construction of the renovation at a very low budget. Model maker Phil Scandura, standing back there, created the miniature life along Lower Verde River at the time Fort Mcdowell was operational. And Larry Urbanus, in the back with the camera, is responsible for an absolutely stunning video that depicts life along the Lower Verde River, which provides sustenance for our communities. We knew that the River of Time had potential for growth and the possibility to become a destination attraction, not only for our Fountain Hills community, but for Greater Phoenix as well. Helping us to reimagine and create our new identity were Ginny and David Rowe of DGR Communications, who led us and many members of our community, some of you in this room, in recrafting our mission statement, redesigning our logo and website. We'll share more about that a little later. Meeting the challenge of sharing this new identity with the world is Media Push, and you just met Charlotte Schaff, and also Amy Wolf works with that team. Partnership programs like the incredibly popular Fort Mcdowell Yavapai Nation and River of Time Tour, and our newly launched Exploration Hike program with Mcdowell Sonoran Conservancy are allowing us to explore program possibilities beyond our walls. The challenge of coordinating these off-site explorations and creating enriching experiences for our guests is possible through the collaboration with professionals such as Albert Nelson, who's the former director of the Fort Mcdowell Yavapai Nation Cultural Center, and Mcdowell Sonoran Conservancy CEO Justin Owen in the back, along with Chief Operating Officer Jackie Casey, and their stewards and pathfinders at the Mcdowell Sonoran Conservancy. This is a new program, we're just launching it, and it is amazing. With only a very tiny staff, our incredibly competent operations coordinator, Yvonne Prater, who's in the back, and myself, We could only survive and thrive through the encouragement and support of a strong and dynamic board of directors. Made up of community leaders and dedicated volunteers, the River of Time has an exceptional team of individuals focused on ensuring that the organization remains a sustainable institution that continues to succeed. Would our current board of directors please stand? We've got some standing in the back there, right? In addition to our current board, I wanted to acknowledge the board that has just, or some members of the board who have just termed off. A couple of them, luckily, are here today, and that's Debbie Skian in the back. She's also playing ambassador, as is Jean Linzer, and they're longtime board members, longtime supporters of the museum. Debbie, in fact, ran the museum for the 10 years prior to the time I got here. Also terming off were Gerard Bisceglia, Jerry Colbert, and Pat Isaacson, and they are responsible for helping all of this move forward. When she took office, our current board president, Sharon Broden, promised that we would make progress towards redesigning and renovating the River of Time. Under her steady, caring, and talented leadership, we've not only redesigned the entire facility, we've completed an operational assessment with the American Alliance of Museums, a 3-year strategic plan, and a complete rebranding, all within 2 years. It's with great pleasure that I introduce you to the President of the Board of Directors of the River of Time, Sharon Broden.
Good morning. It's such a pleasure to see all of you here so bright and early. I think Sherry said it all of the thank yous and everything, but I just want to add that it's been a pleasure working with Sherry, working with all of the board of directors, and they have done an outstanding job as far as agreeing to and supporting all of the plans that we had. And it has been a long journey. We had an assessment to determine who we are, where we stand in the community, and where we should go, and really opened our eyes. We needed to do a lot to get more involved in the community, and we're working toward that goal. The 3-year strategic plan emphasized the things that we needed to do, and we have certainly put forth a lot of the planning that went into it, and the goals that have achieved a lot of the goals. But as I was thinking last night, as I ran the dishwasher and watered some plants and had a drink of water from the faucet, I took that all for granted. All the water that came out of that faucet, it was there. I expected it to be there. But think back years and years ago when this valley had the indigenous population, the Yavapai nations of the whole country. How did they survive in a desert? Well, that's what we talk about in our museum. We talk about the creativity of the native population and what they did to make it possible for other people to move into the valley, and for their creativity, their hard work, and how we can survive in this valley, because this is a desert. We still live in a desert. So our museum is telling that story, not only of the native peoples, but the early populations, the water, how the water was controlled, how it's controlled today, how it was controlled. And this is what I want you to see, and want you to learn and come to visit us and be excited about it as the rest of us are. Thank you.
We're extremely grateful for the decades-long support from the Fort Mcdowell Yavapai Nation, not only financially, but also as program partners and expert advisors. One of our goals in the renovation was to better weave the history, culture, and challenges of the Yavapai people through our exhibits. Understanding that these are not our stories to tell, but knowing the importance of creating an awareness with our visitors. We're grateful to the Fort McDowell Yavapai Nation Cultural Center staff and members of the Yavapai Nation for guiding us and reviewing our interpretive materials. Today, we're very honored to have with us the president of the Fort Mcdowell Yavapai Nation, Mrs. Bernadine Burnett.
Thank you. Kapatak honey, good morning. Oh, we don't have a lively crowd. But yes, thank you for inviting me on behalf of our leadership and I think we have about 880 members, and Fountain Hills is probably 1,000 times more than we are. But having said that, I was trying to recollect when Fountain Hills was beginning to be developed, probably in the late 60s, somewhere around there. But we were excited, but yet we were a little concerned. But look where we are today. We're all standing here working together, which is, great. We truly are good neighbors. We have some challenges in some situations, but we have a tendency to work through that. But I remember when the museum was going to be open, we got a little nervous because we hadn't had a museum yet, and we do today. And I was just talking to Councilman Nelson. I said, I hope, or someone in the back, I hope someday we open a brand new museum, because we all have a story to tell, whether it's in our homes or our towns or our counties or our states or the federal government. But we're the ones to tell the story, the ones that we call ourselves the first Americans. So having said that, we're glad that the museum has opened here to tell an additional story on our behalf and our people. And it is true, we do take everything for granted. I do too. I do too. We were just, Sandy and I were talking about that. Sometimes I get a little upset when things don't go my way, or I get up and something's wrong with my hair, or something's wrong with my fingernails, and I have a visitor. I've adopted a cat. She's out there crying. She's going to have babies. And I think everybody experienced something somehow in your own homes. Yeah. I don't know when the last time I came up to the museum. It's been a while. So it'll be good for us to see all the changes, and remarketing, rebranding is hard, because we have now gone through it to the Yavapai Casino name change. And it's not easy because we get used to the old names, don't we? But yeah, having said that, on behalf of all of us, we have given, many dollars, not only to the Times here, but to a lot of organizations here from our casino business. And some people like to make an accusation that we're selfish. No, we're not. We share the dollars that come in to the casino. Likewise, I play all around. My husband plays there. So I know our funds go to a good cause. A lot goes to education, tourism, public safety, medical, law enforcement. So think of us. Oh, that came from the tribes that operate casinos, and think of Fort Mcdowell. Yeah, and our past leaders too, not only our current leaders, us young ones here. And of course, I'm the oldest one. I know my going out to pasture days is coming close here, because I've been going on 27 years now, serving in leadership for the nation. And we've seen Fountain Hills grow leap and bounds. Yeah, you really have grown. And I always brag about Fountain Hills and the fountain everywhere I go. So hopefully you brag about us everywhere you go likewise. So again, thank you for the good turnout. I'm glad we got to come and share our stories. There's a lot of stories, and there is some stories, and I know that Young Trouble people know we are not supposed to share, so hopefully you understand that. But I'm glad we got to be a part of, I call it the growing pains. Yeah, I remember when we used to drive around the dirt roads in Fountain Hills just to find the 7-Elevens, because it was 3 minutes from our house versus 20 minutes, 30 minutes to go in the city. And we do contribute a lot to the economy here, Mayor, so I want you to know. We do, the little 700 of us that live next door. Yeah, so again, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time, yeah. The Verde River is really important to all of us, the sacredness. There's a long, long history behind it, and we hope that water keeps flowing way beyond when some of us older ones, move on. So again, hopefully we'll market both museums. Yeah, we have, Albert was running our program, and now we have Eliza, raise your hand. She's in charge over there, and I was just telling Albert, I hope we open a new museum. Yeah, it'd be nice to open somewhere on the Beeline Highway. You get a lot of traction on the Beeline Highway, Highway 87, so hopefully we can work together, and anything we can further do, let us know. And we have the Prop 202 also, but we could give a little more on the side, donation they call it, because we all have needs, but those dollars are going to a good reason and a good purpose and a good cause. So again, thank you, Mayor, and everyone for coming out, including us. We keep each other's in thoughts and in prayers. Hanukkah.
Thank you, President Burnett. We are actually, Albert and I had discussions, and now we'll take that up with the new director, about our goal is that we are introducing these Yavapai stories as they relate to what we have here in the museum. We're not trying to tell those stories in depth. We want to encourage people to go to the Cultural Center to actually hear the stories from the Yavapai directors there. So that is one of our major goals for this next year. At this time, I want to introduce a couple of the first families of the River of Time. And we have with us today Brent Cruikshank, who is on our board of directors. He's in the back. He is the son of Ellen Cruikshank, who the museum was named for. And Ellen couldn't be with us this morning. We are having a special founders event on Saturday to honor the founders, which Debbie and Jean are also part of that group, people who started this museum back 2003, this site, but even before that. Alan had an idea that it might be great to have a facility that housed the memorabilia and the history of Fountain Hills, and expanded that to the lower Verde River Valley region and the Yavapai Nation. And he and a group of original founders pulled together, created a committee, and eventually formed a nonprofit that is who we are today. We want to honor this group because without them, of course, we would not be here. And we're very proud that we're able to continue on with their legacy and grow this facility that was set up as a very professional organization. The bones of the museum were exceptional, and we are able to just grow from that. We're very, very fortunate for that. The other first family is that of Dr. Clinton M. Patia, and we have Sandra Patia here representing Dr. Patia, the family today. Sandy is also on our board of directors and serves as treasurer and is our medical advisor at this point, having a long history in medical field, including with the government in DC. So every time there's a new COVID thing, I send her information. What should we do? So I feel like we're pretty well advised on that front. Dr. Clinton Patia was a decades-long tribal member and on the tribal council, and eventually was president for a couple of decades. He was responsible for helping to create sustainability for the tribe, and he also felt really strongly about having this museum. He was on the original founders group, he was part of the original board of directors for a number of years, and also responsible for helping fund a great portion of what happened in the beginning with the museum, and really believed in us and really helped to create those connections that President Burnett has been able to sustain. So we just want to share these people who had the vision that have brought us here today. At this point, I would like to have Sharon come back up and talk a little bit about our rebranding, which is the second part of this.
Well, actually, Sherry, you're the one that should talk about this because you're the one that was instrumental in getting a lot of this done. But we have decided that we need to expand our reach and be a broader based community organization. So our rebranding consists of I'm kind of lost in words right here. You know, Sherry, I'd rather you.
Okay.
It comes right down to it.
You know,
Mine has been a little
I know. Sharon, we forgive you. It's no, and plus, doing these things at 3 o'clock in the morning just really don't work very well. I completely forgot to acknowledge and recognize the mayor of Fountain Hills, who has joined us today. And Jenny Dickey has been a great supporter of the River of Time, and throughout the museum's history, the town of Fountain Hills has been incredibly supportive. And in my mind, as a director, and I almost hate to bring this up because I don't want to remind you, but one of the greatest gifts here is that I don't have any utility bills. So it's, for a director trying to run a small facility, to not have to worry about the air conditioning is huge. The town staff has just been amazing. I'm sure that there's things that I call about that they maybe really shouldn't be doing, but they're just so generous, and it makes a huge difference to us, and I hope that in some way we're able to give back as well. Mayor Dickey, I've invited here today to talk a little bit about the role of the River of Time in Fountain Hills, and it's just so amazing to have a mayor on speed dial because you just, she picks up, so you don't do that anymore, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I wanted to thank everybody for coming and inviting me to welcome our guests here to the grand opening of the River of Time Museum and Exploration Center. A labor of love, the museum is a culmination of years of work by many hands, reaching for the stars to arrive at this moment today. We had Bruce Hansen's famous spaghetti fundraising dinners. We have our wonderful Hall of Fame events, our ever-present donors and volunteers, and Judy Comfort's humor and leadership, forging bonds with Fort Mcdowell, and everyone who shared her enthusiasm for this special endeavor. Who would have thought that when my parents moved to this fledgling community in the 70s, that much of my family would still be here to celebrate the 50th anniversary of our iconic fountain. If I've learned anything in my almost 4 decades here in Fountain Hills, it's that honoring the past by respecting ideas and accomplishments allows you to appreciate and savor the present and prepare for the future with curiosity and optimism. In that spirit, Fountain of 50 committee members Sandy Orsini, Brent Cruikshank, and my better half, Jim, while collecting items for the time capsule that they were going to bury, came up with an idea for a new town commission dedicated to historic and cultural preservation, embraced by our town manager, our staff, and our council. You see, organizations like the Civic Association, the Chamber, the school district, and more were discovering documents and photos and other pieces that should be cataloged and saved. The Times is going to be a treasure trove of memories. And what an apropos partner in Sherry, with her desire to share the rich history of our region. No more a fledgling community. The museum's namesake, Alan Cruikshank, along with Jean Linzer and Jerry Miles, wrote Rising Above the Rest, which has served as kind of a reference book for me many times, particularly when I was appearing on the Hip Historian, where I was able to quiz the audience with multiple choice questions about Fountain Hills. I was able to sneak in a brag or two about our amenities and, of course, this wonderful museum. I even borrowed part of that title last year, declaring that the state of the town was rising above. This River of Time Museum is an important, unique attraction to the town of Fountain Hills, perfect complement to the Cotillo Civic Center Plaza and our Centennial Circle. The council and I are so fortunate to serve a community with talented, forward-thinking people like Sherry, like those here today, and all of those who came before us with a vision for a future that we now get to enjoy. So I want to thank you all for coming, and thank you, Sherry, for all your work.
Thank you, Jenny. That's very sweet. So the rebranding is, as many of you have been through this with your businesses, is quite a process. So we not only did the long-range strategic plan, which led us to realize we wanted to rebrand, we went through the complete process of analyzing where we were and where we wanted to go. We involved many of our community leaders, some of you here today, in this process, and with the expert guidance of Jenny and David Rowe and DGR Communications, we were able to come up with not a new direction for us, but expanding outside of our walls is the way we're looking at it. Working with Jackie Casey and the Mcdowell Sonoran Conservancy, we realized there are so many opportunities in the area that will help us allow people to come here, learn a little bit about what's going on, and then go out in the field and actually experience it. So Bill Meyer and the Fort McDowell Yavapai Nation with Albert Nelson have worked diligently to make our Fort McDowell Yavapai Nation tours successful, and that's what we're building on now. So I'm telling you all this because you will see when we unveil our new logo, the direction that we're going. I'm going to ask Jenny and David to come up, since they were instrumental in making this happen and creating this new logo and all of our new marketing pieces, which you will see in there, and they're yelling at me consistently to not use the old logo and the old name, and so that will take some time. But Jenny and David, would you unveil for our audience the new River of Time Museum and Exploration Center? They have been amazing to work with, and when you get a chance to go through, I did set up a computer that has the new website, which Jenny just launched at 9:30 last night, maybe even later. It's phenomenal, and you can of course log on from home as well to see that. You will start seeing this with our name. Some have asked about Al Allen Cruikshank. Our formal name still is Al Allen Cruikshank River of Time Museum and Exploration Center. You probably aren't going to see that on our branded materials, but we still hold Mr. Cruikshank in high regard, and that is not going away. I would like at this time, because you all want to get in and see this place, right? How many of you have already been through? I know some of you were invited to other things. Please take your time. We have experts, both our docents and people from the community that have expertise in some of the areas in the museum, stationed at the different displays. So you really can learn quite a lot if you want to take the time today. And I really encourage you to take the time to view the video. We always start our tours with that. We really want people to see that video first. It's very impactful. It really gives an overview of what you're going to see as you go through our center. And I think if you can take the time, that would be, Larry has done a phenomenal job. He's an incredible videographer, so that is something that I encourage. And then, after you've learned a whole lot of stuff, please go out to the patio, join us for coffee and pastries, and just mingle with friends. So first, I would like to introduce Betsy Lavoie, and Betsy is the Chamber CEO. The Chamber has been incredibly supportive of the River of Time, not only in just asking stupid questions like what caterer did you use, but in really supporting us as a business here in Fountain Hills. We are a nonprofit. We don't pay the business rates to join, but they are just as supportive of us, and it's phenomenal, the work that they do. Betsy and her crew are actually going to cut the ribbon and let us enter the new River of Time Exploration Center.
Don't go far, Sherry. So Sherry will actually cut the ribbon with the ridiculously oversized scissors. But thank you so much, Sherry. It is truly our honor and pleasure to support River of Time Museum and Exploration Center. And Sherry also included me in their process for planning and rebranding. And again, I was honored to be a part of that. On behalf of the Board of Directors, Chamber staff, and our esteemed ambassador group, we are excited to do the ribbon cutting for the rebranding and reopening of the museum. And I know, ambassadors, we have crowded into small spaces before, but this might take the cake. So I am going to start with Mr. Al Romano from Fountain Hills Healthy Heartbeats. We have a proclamation that we present to all of our ribbon cutting ceremony people, and so Al is going to read that to Sherry and crew.
Thank you, Betsy. Proclamation. Whereas, from the traders and merchants who crossed over the Mcdowell Mountains on the Transcontinental Railway to the merchants of today, in the shadow of our famous fountain, progress and new beginnings have prevailed. Whereas, those new beginnings have marked the development of Fountain Hills as a hidden gem of Phoenix Valley and the friendliest town in the nation. Thereby, we, the ambassadors of the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, wish to congratulate River of Time Museum on their official ribbon cutting ceremony. We present this proclamation, which carries with it 100 years of good fortune.
And I would like to invite all of our ambassadors up here to the front, and Sherry and Sharon and Mayor and President Burnett, if you're able to be front and center in front of the ribbon for the ribbon cutting. We are going to squeeze everyone in here to officially cut that ribbon and launch the reopening of the museum. Maybe I can move this podium.
Where are we at? Jeans, take a step forward. Go as far forward as you can. Sherry, go behind the ribbon. I'm going through. Sorry, President Burnett. Oh, back to you. Get in the center. I don't need me. We'll get in the center.
Okay. We are so thrilled to have the support of our chamber ambassadors, and especially to have Jean Linzer and Debbie Skehan as such a huge part of the museum and as our chamber ambassadors. And so what we do all together, we count down from 5 to 1 so that Sherry can cut the ribbon. And so join me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try again. And with that, Sherry's going to officially open the doors and welcome everyone into the reopening of the River of Time Museum and Exploration Center. Thank you and congratulations.
Love you, Chuck. I just paused it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to mess it up. I know. Just nervous. But it was such a small pink group that she knew everybody. I know. I was nervous. See my name tag fell off in the middle.
I heard a noise and then I saw you moving around and I was like, oh, that's a bummer.
And